With the My Haunted project growing week by week and the addition of more locations, Harry, Brett and I would always have needed to add to the team. And over the course of 2024, our UK team has expanded. And now Dan, Gibbsy and Saz sit down to discuss their journey so far. This is the My Haunted podcast.
Well, lads, we've not had a chance to do this, have we, since we became members of the My Haunted project. We've been so busy. We've been meaning to do this podcast for quite a while. And we just wanted to get together and talk about, you know, what it's like for us being guests at the hotel, coming as regularly as we did, to ending up as being part of the team. And sort of the experiences that we've had that have led up to, you know, the here and now, what we go through sort of with the team on a weekly basis, and just, you know, your thoughts on it all, really.
It's great that we can sit down now tonight and have a chat about this for the people that want to watch us. Really interesting for me, this building, this project changed my whole belief system. I came here as a guest to appease my wife, happy life and all that. And actually it gave me a passion for something I didn't even know that I had.
So for me it's quite different. So I obviously were running primarily afterlife nights and working alongside the team. So when I kind of experienced this building and got used to what happens here day to day, getting used to seeing guest experiences here, to kind of transform to being on the actual My Haunted Hotel team and seeing the behind the scenes element was just completely game changing. You know, the work that goes on, the baseline readings, the activity that we both see so often.
I think the other thing that I want to add, obviously we got asked to join the project team after just being guests that came on a really regular basis. And for somebody who'd not really investigated for a very long time in this field, it was such a privilege to be asked for the people that have put the heart and soul into this project to come to me and ask me to join that. And, you know, it is an honour working alongside Harry, Brett and Danny. And it's such a great way to build on my own journey.
Yeah, I think one of the things for me is, like Gibbsy said, you know, and Danny, it's just to be here on this side of it is just so very different, isn't it? I know we've said before, like, we don't just turn up, do an investigation and go home. There are hours and hours and hours spent at home doing different things, whether it's, you know, improving the guest experience, it's reviewing footage, it's thinking of different ways to make it so, you know, people that do come regularly, because we have so many regular guests, that it is different for them each time. And there is a lot of hard work goes into it. There's, you know, the editing and production for Danny, designing for Brett, you know, the location sourcing, the website. There's just, it goes on and on and on. And, you know, we're all very busy in our own different way. But that's, you know, that's part of the fun of it, because you see then the end results, which is great.
So a really interesting thing, and I don't know if you both feel the same as me on this one, but for the first couple of months, I almost felt like I was failing at my job here, because the amount of times we would get a radio come through saying, there's footsteps in the corridor, we've heard a woman's voice, and you would trawl the cameras and just find no obvious explanation for it. And it kind of got to the point in the end, I guess, where I kind of realised that's the point, you know? That's why this building is so well known and such an incredible place.
I absolutely agree with you, Dan. Like, you walk into that control room and from the outside looking in, you'd think it's an easy job. Actually, there's so much pressure when you're in there. You make your own life difficult because you mess with the radios all the time, which is frustrating. But you're right, the amount of time spent trying to debunk these things, because obviously our job is to portray an accurate investigation and to give an accurate account of what that guest has experienced. Is it that there's another guest in another room knocking or whistling, or is it something that actually we can't explain? And you spend so long trawling through. There's 24 cameras in this building. There's times in there where it is carnage, and you really do feel under pressure in there because you want to give the right answer. You want to give the guest the feedback as soon as you can, because you know, I know from a guest perspective, I'm sat there thinking, this has just happened, why have they not radioed me back? But you're just trying to do it as accurately as you can. Working that control room is tough. It's tough on a quiet night because you're thinking, I really want these guests to experience something. But then on the flip side, when it's a chaotic night and the building really is producing, you are 100 miles an hour trying to figure out, and you've got one radio going 1 minute, another radio going the next minute.
Fell over.
Oh my, that's mad.
Talking about it.
That's mad. And you're trying to chase down all these moments to try and figure out, is that something that we can't explain, or is that something that we can explain to give the accurate outcome for the guests?
Yeah, I mean, I obviously spend time in the control room with both of you, and I will not profess to touch the cameras, the radios, or anything. I'm not known for my technical prowess by any stretch of the imagination. But I do come in there, I like seeing the guests, you know, as they experience something, radioing and watching you two do your thing, and it's amazing. I think we have so much fun in there.
Oh, it went smoke. I've just had a sex week.
The part I love the most is, you know, being with the guests, investigating with them. We get quite a few people that do come on their own, and I'm more than happy to join anyone who do not have to ask me twice. Seeing the guests on the break and seeing, you know, what they've had so far. That to me is the best part. I just love being with the guests, hearing their stories, them asking me about things that have happened here. That's my favourite bit.
So I completely agree, Saz. You know, the whole guest experience and joining, following the guests' journeys as well is just such a special moment. I think one thing that is probably my favourite and in some ways the most frustrating is the whole, on a quiet night, trying to establish why is it quiet? What can we do to change that? What patterns are we finding that are going to trigger that incredible moment?
I have a number of favourite parts in this. I like a challenge. I like something that does challenge me. I love meeting the guests, meeting new people, watching their experience, listening to what they say when they've had an experience and they come down. And I like to talk about my experiences there and how it changed my perception of things, and I tend to find that the interaction that I have with guests based on that is really, really good. I also like a lot of the stuff that I do behind the scenes because it's completely new to me. I have to spend time figuring out how I'm going to do this and this to make it work. And I love being with the team. We have a great laugh when we're all together.
It's one hell of a meme.
I mean, you two drive me nuts sometimes because you just mess around when I'm trying to be serious. And I don't think there's a single aspect to the project that I dislike. Being in this building is just special on its own.
So I think it's fair to say we're all on our own journeys here. You know, Harry with the whole capturing a whole building's content on camera, something that isn't really done across, you know, the world really, from a paranormal stance, right the way down to kind of all of us with our own individual kind of pathways that we've taken. I think for me, it's been the whole seeing different methods of investigating, understanding the scientific elements that kind of go alongside that. And some of the things I've witnessed along this journey have just been phenomenal. And I think it's fair to say for me, that really standout moment is the DVP in room 2.
Could you knock once if you're a female, please?
Oh, what was that? What was that?
I could describe it as like a woman screaming, but almost having her neck, you know, strangled or pressure. it was a very disturbing moment for me, but it changed completely my outlook on how I view the paranormal.
The things that happen in this building and the way this building grips you.
Yeah.
Because it does. I don't know what it is, but it becomes addictive. I mean, Gibbsy joked that, you know, the amount of times we came, we could have had an absolutely mega holiday abroad, but I wouldn't change it. You know, what's happened here and the way everything has developed and becoming part of the team is something that it'll always be close to my heart. This building will never leave and I will never forget, you know, whatever happens going forward. The first visit has got to be the thing for me, mainly because I came along with Gibbsy. He had little interest in it, but he knew that I loved it and he came for me. And that night was just incredible. Do you want the sword putting back? Wow.
Oh my God.
I think that's a definitive. Do you want it back in this room?
What?
I'd never experienced anything like it, and I had done 20 plus other investigations before I came here. And that just surely speaks volumes regarding what happens here and everyone's experiences in this place.
I always come away from this building with more questions than answers, which is probably now my driving force for doing what I do. There are a number of standout moments for me. The very first night, like I said, things happened in this building that made me question my whole belief system, which is what brought me back. And maybe now I probably wouldn't think as in detail. I'd probably think more in detail about them things because some of the evidence that captured that night was just a basic K2 meter. Now, would I just believe that as I did back then? Now, probably not, because I've worked with the likes of yourself, like the likes of Danny, and I understand the scientific side of investigating much more now. Although I miles prefer more now to just listen and watch than I actually use lots of equipment, whereas at one point it was like I would fill a room full of equipment. Probably the standout moment for me, other than the very first night, would be sat around this table when I asked for a glass to be moved behind, or something to be moved behind the bar, and within 5 seconds a glass comes off the top shelf, and I went round the bar and I'm trying to shake the bar, and the fixtures are solid behind there, the glasses are anti-slip mats, and when you look at that for what it is, whatever did that, it didn't happen immediately, so it was like I'd had to get from wherever it was to where the glass was to move it. And I think for me that was probably one of the big changing points for me. In there's some level of intelligence to this, and that's what I want to explore deeper.
I think so many people are used to seeing YouTube videos with, you know, people with a camera or the phone going around buildings, which look is great. You know, I've watched those and there's nothing wrong with that at all. However, the uniqueness of this project and the way that this is done to try and capture everyone's experiences is something that is totally different. And it has got to the point where we get activity and the same sort of activity so often. You know, we all watch it and we're like, it can be samey because the knocks on room 5 door, the footsteps we hear in the corridor.
Could you do it a bit louder? Thank you.
But we can't discard that is just something that does happen regularly. We're almost used to it. But someone who's coming for the first time, they're absolutely blown away by it, and we wouldn't take that away from anyone that was visiting.
But you never know.
Look, for me, I implore for people sat at home to understand that when you watch the YouTube show, it basically is a highlight reel of the things that happen here. Things do happen on this building on a really regular basis. Now, I was a paranormal husband. I got dragged around to these events all over the country that, if I'm quite honest, I got no feedback from them. It didn't interest me in the slightest. I remember stood doing, I think it was a seance, and there was maybe 10, 15 of us, and I was holding hands with a random guy next to me, and I could tell that he was in the same boat as me. And there was a medium there that was sensing a cat. Now, I nearly lost it. I nearly started laughing, but I didn't want to ruin the experience for the people that was there for what they wanted. I came along again, like I've already said, with Saz, and this building changed my perspective on all of that. And I implore anyone that may be at home watching the episodes with their partner, their wife, their husband, that is genuinely a skeptic. And this is probably one of the parts that I love. I love speaking to the guests that you can see are just here because the partner wants to come. And I tell them my journey in this. And a lot of them do come back to me and say, actually, you know, things have happened that I can't explain. And I'd implore for anyone at home in that position that if you want to open your mind to what potentially is out there, or you are maybe on the fence with it, this venue is a must visit, because, again, it gave me a passion for something that I never believed I would have.
What I really love about here, and so many people come in who have been to other venues and they tell me these excellent stories, you know, of I've saw this, I've heard this. And what I really love about this location in particular is if it wasn't for these cameras running 24/7, all of this would just be stories. I think as well for me, as someone who's hosted events all over the country, this place just adds such a personal feel. It kind of takes a paranormal investigation right up to the next level. Now, that's got its massive positives in the sense of you get that really intimate experience. You get to really knuckle down with no noise pollution, with really scientific approaches. The downside of this, though, of course, is so many people come here, and the reality is the paranormal activity, it's a bit like liquid gold. It doesn't happen all the time. And the amount of people that I've saw come here and sadly not witness what I really feel they deserve to witness, it happens so regularly.
Look, I mean, I think it's fair to say, lads, we just bloody love it here, don't we? We love everything about it. We love working with each other and the team. We're just all looking forward to what the future holds. I just don't think that, you know, this is not it. There is so much more to come. There is so much more to capture. And I'm just looking forward to it so much.
We're serious, but not serious at the same time. We love to have a laugh. We're all just typical people that want to have fun.